Ladies and gentle gamers, welcome back to To Be Determined. Today we are going over the early bestiary guide. So private island, hub, farming islands, and the garden. We're not going to cover fishing mobs in this video. That'll be a separate video. But if you guys want to see that, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll be sure to make a sequel. I plan to go over all of the different islands in the future until we hit every single bestiary mark, so you'll know how to grind them all most effectively, but we got to start with the basics. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. Alright, so for private island bestiary, this is the first one that will be in your bestiary milestones. So to get to bestiary, you can type /BE. So there are 7 different families here. Some of these are very easy, like zombies, spiders, and skeletons. A few are a little bit more difficult, like witches and endermen. Some require special things to happen, like creepers and slime. So we're going to start off with going over zombies, spiders, and skeletons. So these guys will spawn pretty frequently on your island, but for any of the mobs to spawn that will count towards your bestiary, you are going to want to make a big platform like this so you'll be able to grind them really easily. And I recommend a very high ranged explosive weapon, so either a spirit scepter, a Hyperion, or you can use something as cheap as a dreadlord sword, because that will definitely get the job done. But zombies, skeletons, and spiders you'll get really easily. Some of the rarer mobs like endermen and witches can be pretty tough. Endermen don't take as long, but witches, I have been playing on this profile for 1700 hours almost, and I've only killed 84 witches, which if I sat down and did it, it'd be pretty easy. But I do recommend kind of doing these passively. You don't really need to sit down and grind these. It's not really going to be worth it. Just every time you visit your island and it's nighttime, check to see if they've spawned. Now for slimes, you have to do a special thing. So you'll notice that this platform I have built is way under the rest of my island. It is at Y20. Now you don't have to have it at Y20 specifically, but you have to have your platform built below Y30, because slimes will only spawn when you are below Y30. So whenever you build a platform to grind these guys out, again, I do recommend using a builder's ruler or a builder's wand. But if you build a line straight like this, you will have to build this line of block yourself. You can't use a ruler for that, but afterwards you can use the ruler on top of these blocks to go ahead and right click, and it will spawn the blocks right there. And if you have enough blocks, you can go all the way down until you've built the entire platform this way. But you see, it is nighttime, so mobs should be spawning here. Sometimes, however, they will not, so you'll have to just warp out of your island and then warp back, and there you go, they start spawning. So you can see witches and endermen do spawn, just a little bit rare compared to the zombies and spiders and things that are here. You're going to want to have a night saver, which if you don't know, night savers are in the nether quartz collection. They're crafted with brown mushroom, nether quartz, and glass. Really easy to make. Now for the creeper bestiary. These guys will not spawn naturally on your island, no matter what you do. So you have to put down a minion for these guys. Now you might be wondering, why wouldn't you put down a minion for the rest of the mobs? Like slime seems pretty easy. But if we go to slime bestiary, I currently have 134 total kills. See, I have a slime minion here. So if I kill all of the slimes and we go back and look, I still have 134 total kills. So the other mobs besides creeper, they don't actually work for counting towards your bestiary, but for some reason creeper does work, so that is the only way that you can max out your creeper bestiary. Now there are a few things that can help out with your enderman bestiary actually. So if you have an end biome stick from the endstone collection, it's really easy to make. You can give this end biome stick to Jerry. Change island biome. We can click to view here and then click on the end biome stick in our inventory. He's going to convert our island to an end biome. So now all of the mobs that spawn on our island are going to be endermen. So we can easily get our enderman bestiary maxed this way. But honestly, I don't recommend doing this just because you're not going to spawn any witches, and witches are by far the hardest bestiary to max on your private island. So by the time you max out your witches, you'll have maxed out your endermen for sure. But if you want some really quick bestiary, you can do this. Next on our bestiary list is the hub island. So there are 6 mobs here. We're going to start off with the graveyard zombie and the zombie villager. Now for any of the mobs in the hub, I recommend trying to find a private island. So if you click on this guy, the hub selector right next to spawn, then you can right click on this compass if you have a rank, and you'll be able to warp to an island that has just you on it. So this means nobody's going to be stealing your kills. Even if it's Aatrox and everybody's grinding zombie bestiary, you'll be able to get this bestiary done super easily. So zombie villagers also only spawn at nighttime, so you'll want to specifically grind these graveyard zombies and the zombie villagers at night. And of course, I don't expect everyone to be having an Estrella when you're doing this, or even a Spirit Scepter. So again, a Dreadlord sword is a good option. They're only about 7,000 coins right now, and they definitely get the job done. You can see I am just walking around, and the radius on this thing is pretty nice, and again, it's only 7,000 coins, and you should definitely be one-shotting these guys, even if you pretty much just started the game. As long as you have the requirements for the sword, I think it's dependent on what floor it was dropped from, but it should only be a few kata levels at most, then you'll be able to handle this super easily. Next up, there are the golden ghouls and the crypt ghouls. So these guys spawn in the crypts down here below the graveyard, so you can just go in spamming your Dreadlord sword or your Spirit Scepter on these guys as well. They're pretty easy to handle, but I don't actually recommend grinding this bestiary except for when you're doing zombie slayer. So personally, I don't plan to grind this bestiary for a while because I'm already zombie slayer level 9. I only killed like 20,000 of these. But if you haven't hit Zombie Slayer 9 yet, or if you want to go above Zombie Slayer 9, then I wouldn't recommend grinding these guys until you're doing Zombie Slayer, because you're going to hit your Bestiary milestones along the way anyways. Plus, if it's Aatrox, then you can actually make some good money from Zombie Slayer as well. Now, for grinding specifically the Golden Ghouls, there are a couple spawn locations. So this is one of the spawns, and you can spawn a few of them at the same location at the same time. But the one spawn is right here in this banner room. It's at -101. 39, -84, and then the second one will be around the loop over here in the second room that has all these bars. You'll be able to handle these guys pretty easily by just walking around this loop here. So basically just killing the ones in here, killing these along the way, and then coming back to this section, and then going back to the first section again, and just grinding your bestiary up that way. You'll get your crypt ghouls up and your golden ghouls up. Next up in the hub is the wolf and the old wolf, which I kind of went overboard on, but these guys are pretty easy to get completed as well. But again, you'll only want to do these when you're doing Sven Slayer this time instead of Rev Slayer. And doing this in a private hub is pretty nice, but if you're wanting to do Sven Slayer efficiently, I do recommend getting a couple of friends and just going around killing these guys with Spirit Scepter, Hype, or Dreadlord Sword, either way. And whenever you spawn a mini boss, so a Sven follower or a Sven alpha if you're killing tier 4s, just let it live and let one of your friends kill it, because you'll get XP for spawning it and they'll get XP for killing it. And you don't get more XP for spawning and killing it. So this way you'll both be spawning bosses faster, because you'll be killing theirs and they'll be killing yours. So it just makes it go by a lot faster, a lot easier. Pretty simple trick, most people know it, but thought I'd throw it in there. Now there are a lot of old wolf spawns, so these guys you'll want to focus on. There's one right outside the castle here, and then there will be another one in the cliff section over on this side, and there will be two more over by the throne room. So if you warp up top here, there's one right here, and then if you go down in the hole, there's another one right here. So that should be most of the old wolf spawns. There is one that's like up here in this building, but it's not really worth warping up here for. So the routing I recommend is throne room here, dropping down this section here, going back up, and then just killing these guys along the way, and then going outside, killing these ones, and then getting the old wolf kill right here, and then going back over. And honestly, from right here, you can warp back up to the top throne room and kill the old wolf again. Or if you want to get that extra kill, you can go out to the cliff side here and get the old wolf there. Now, old wolves can actually make some decent profit. They drop a wolf talisman at a 0.1% drop rate. So with no magic find, you should get at least 4 of these by the time you max the bestiary at 4,000 kills. But with some decent magic find, you can drop quite a few. Now, these guys are only auctionable, so you can't create a buy it now option, but you can see they go for quite a bit. They can go for up to 1,000,000 coins. And again, they drop pretty commonly, so it's not crazy money, but it's a nice little bonus. Hopefully you'll drop a overflux capacitor along the way though. That's a big bonus. That is all the hub island mobs. Now we're gonna go over to the farming islands, which are ridiculously easy to max. You can see these guys only require 200 kills on each one. So if we just warp over to the barn, you can see the pigs, chickens, and cows will all spawn here. And if we just use a Spirit Scepter on these guys, this is what I highly recommend. using because it's got such a wide range. But honestly, if you're just starting the game, then any weapon with cleave on it, or again a dreadlord sword, should get the job done. So if I'm just left clicking with this, you can see the wide range that cleave has, not even using the right click of the weapon. So getting 200 on these guys is pretty easy. Now the next ones are a little bit more difficult. They take about twice as long, but that's not really saying much. Oasis sheep and rabbits will spawn right here in the oasis on the desert island. And these are actually just regular sheep and rabbits. Oasis sheep and rabbits are technically a fishing mob that you can get only in the oasis, but we'll talk about those in another video. For now, you're just going to warp around killing these guys the same way you did with the other mobs. They have a pretty wide spawn range, so you can be up on this cliff here and killing these ones, and then dropping down, getting rid of these guys, and then going back up towards the top spawn, and they spawn a lot of sheep over here. So you're probably going to kill a lot more sheep than rabbits, honestly. The rabbits spawn a bit less frequently, so I recommend focusing the high rabbit spawns, which are going to be down here in this section with all the cocoa beans. There's quite a few rabbit spawns. There's about 4 or 5 or 6 here, something like that, and so you can get rid of all the rabbits pretty easily here. And then the sheep are super duper easy. If you have to focus on those at all after maxing rabbit, then they don't take long at all. That leaves one mob on the farming islands, mushroom cow. So these guys will only spawn down in the, I believe, glowing mushroom gorge section down here, the glowy mushroom cave. These guys are all over the place here. You've got a pretty set route that you have to take, just kind of taking this loop around. So you've got one kind of line of spawn that you're just going to walk back and forth on. So there's not really a super efficient way to get these guys done. Whether you're using a spirit scepter or just like a rogue sword to kill these guys, it's not going to make too much of a difference as long as you one-shot them. The main thing will be having a high speed. So if you can afford a black cat or young dragon armor, that can help out a little bit, but again, it's only 200 kills, so it does not take long at all either way. Finally, we have the garden, which pests are a pretty new thing. They came out less than a week ago, but we already kind of know the best way to do this bestiary, at least until it's patched or changed. Now, normally you would want to have a day saver on your island so that all your crops are going to grow faster, but whenever you're grinding pests, you want it to be a night saver, because the best way to grind pests is actually with a very niche armor set in Mushroom Collection, the Mushroom Armor. You can see the ability of the Mushroom Armor grants the wearer permanent night vision while worn, and during the night the stats of the armor pieces are tripled. So you're going to want to have it at nighttime, so the armor pieces stats will be tripled, but the regular stats aren't that important. So what you'll want to get on the Mushroom Armor to increase your pest chances is a Pesterminator book, at least level 1 on each armor piece. Now, this is a pretty sweaty strategy, and it costs hundreds of millions of coins to do this, so I honestly don't recommend using this strat unless this is like your last bestiary, your super duper late game, and you have millions of coins to throw away. But actually, this isn't a terrible money making method either. You can make a pretty good amount from pests as well. You just got to get somewhat lucky, get a couple slug pet drops, and you'll be chilling. But the Mushroom Armor will increase your stats 3x per piece. So a Pesterminator 1 book on one piece of armor would normally be 2 bonus pest chance, but on Mushroom Armor during night, it's going to be 6 bonus pest chance. So you're paying 10 million coins for 6 bonus pest chance instead of just 2. So it's actually not a terrible option. There's also other ways to increase your bonus pest chance. Wriggling Larvae is a good option. They give bonus pest chance permanently. You can also get your hands on the Max Vacuum in the Sky Mart here, the Infinite Vacuum Hooverius. If you put a specific vinyl in it, then you'll spawn that type of pest more often. So I recommend using some of the rarer vinyls because you'll spawn the easy mobs pretty easily. But if you want to know the rarity of the mob, then you'll see in the garden levels at level 5 you unlock all the common ones: flies, crickets, locusts, rats, mosquitoes, and you unlock the rare ones as time goes on. So beetles, slugs, moths, mites, earthworms, those are going to be your rarer ones. So I recommend focusing beetles, slugs, and mite because those are the ones that actually make the most money. Beetles drop Pesterminator books, slugs drop slug pets, and mites drop, I believe, atmospheric filters, and all those go for a pretty penny. You also want to be using a specific spray from the Sprayinator right here. sure to grant some bonus pest chance and decrease the spawn time by 2x. And also make sure that whenever you're grinding this, you'll want to be farming sugarcane, because sugarcane, whenever you break 1 block, you're actually breaking 2 blocks, so you increase your chances of spawning a pest by 2 times. So that can be pretty helpful. I made a bit more in-depth guide recently on getting specific pests and how to make the most money from pests, so if you want to check that out, that should be linked at the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end. I hope you enjoyed and learned something, and if there's anything I missed, make sure to leave a comment. I do my best to read every single comment, so if it's good, I might pin it. But thanks so much for watching to the end, and y'all have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you in the next one. Like, subscribe, and God bless.